Check, check, one, two. Hey, it's Bruce Hill. New skills, new you. Oh, you probably heard the mic checks. Mic's hot. Listen, I'm a sales strategist, not a video production editor. Hey, Lewis, when we talk, ask you a simple question today. Last week we talked about the better question quadrant, which is taken, by the way. I'll come up with something else. Today, unless my camera shuts off, we're going to talk about does your introduction make sense? And this is not to you, not to people that know you, not to the people who have spent time reading your social media or listen to you speak, like to a stranger. That's good. Updated title. Does it make sense to a stranger? So I'm going to give you 4 tips to make sure your introduction makes sense to strangers. It makes sense to people who have never spoken with you before. And how to introduce yourself so people want to hear more, right? Even if it's the wrong person, they understand who the right person is and they can introduce you. So I like visuals. I can be a talking head and I don't mind being on camera, but let's do this. I love a good whiteboard. I love a good whiteboard because I want you to see what we're saying. I want you to be able to visualize it. My hope is that you understand it better. You can apply it more easily. So let's put let's put a circle here. Let me see. Is there a way? There it is. Ha, nice. All right, so that's you. And whoops. All right, I guess it likes triangles. And this is a stranger. Can we change the color on this? Switch type. There we go. Communication is a connection, right? So we're going to label this line communication here. Now, one thing we have to be careful about, particularly with introductions, see if we can get some arrows. There we go. We have to make sure that when we give our introduction is this way, that's one direction, but we want to make sure that we create space for communication to go the other way. And this is where this is where we have a connection. So communication can be either direction or both, but a connection happens. Let's use this one. Let's put this one right here. And I really need a smart board. That's what I need. And we're talking about connection. So for some of you, this is going to be the basics, but I need to make sure we're all on the same page of the same book. Same page of the same book. So when we have a strong introduction, we're trying to create connection, not just communicate, not just one way. We're trying to create connection. That's the goal. That's the mission. This is what success looks like. So a good introduction can do 3 things. Let's put this yellow. It should create clarity. It should answer some questions. We're going to go over what those questions are so you can use them on purpose. You probably do some of these things already. If you're on New Skills, New You, that lets me know you're interested in personal and professional development. You're probably an entrepreneur, probably in a customer facing role. Maybe you're a startup founder. So there's some of these things you already do, maybe naturally, trial and error, whatever the case may be. My goal isn't to reinvent the wheel. It's to help you do the things that work on purpose until it becomes second nature. And maybe you'll find something, hey, I never knew that, or I never thought of that that way. But my goal or success for us is going to be clarity. The things that you do, you're like, oh, I do that. Now you know what they are, why they work. And that's clarity. And that's the goal of a good intro is clarity. The other part is curiosity. Curiosity. There we go. All right, hooked on phonics works for me. what we really are looking for, not to be mysterious, not to be confusing. We want curiosity. I'm interested. Hey, that's pretty cool. Tell me more. That's curiosity. If they say, huh? Or what do you mean? Like, wait, what do you do? That's confusion. That's not curiosity. Let's do purple. That's always a great color. The next thing we want to do is create a conversation. This is where people mess up. They think their intro is the entire portion of the conversation, and they don't create any curiosity, so the other person doesn't ask any question or questions. And guess what? We don't have a connection there. You'll notice I like alliterations, I like rhymes, and I like triplicates. You'll see that often. Clarity, curiosity, and conversation. That's how we know, that's how we create a connection. That's how we introduce ourselves, have an intro that people want to learn more about. And this is really simple, but when you use them together, we're going to turn more of our conversations into clients. So let's put you, and then here, I'm going to put future client, right? Effective communication starts here at the intro. If we do it well, we're creating clarity. Oh, I get it. We're creating curiosity. That's interesting. I want to learn more. And we're having a conversation. Hey, can you help me? Or can I introduce you to someone? So once the intro goes this way to your future client, if they ask you questions, that's effective. Let's update this communication. That's effective communication. That's where we have a connection. I want to highlight. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Highlighter. One moment, please. I want to highlight this. That's when we have a connection. When it's two directions. When it's going back and forth, conversations create clients, not sales pitches, not some magic call script. Communication creates clients. So if we're doing these three things, the clarity, the curiosity, I'm going to zoom in on these. We're creating a conversation. This is where a client happens. So let's talk about clarity. Simple. That's really the key things. This should proactively answer these four questions. And you know what? I'm really digging these sticky notes. So we're going to do more sticky notes. What are the questions? Who is this for? That's question number one. This is when we don't answer often enough. We talk about what it is, we talk about how we do it, but we talk about why does it matter. And even more important, let's say dot, 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 a little ellipses, right? To me. That's really the most important person. Let me go back up here. This is the most important person in the conversation. If it doesn't make sense to them, if it's not important to them, we end up talking to ourselves. I'm gonna highlight, bold it, underline it. That's the most important person. And when you take the focus off of you, right? We don't want to get stuck here. We want to focus over here on the future client. We're gonna start having more effective communication. Like this is so simple, and it's often overcomplicated, or because it's simple, they skip it. They don't do it. And it's that irony where we know exactly what to do, how to do it, Because it's so simple, we don't do it. We skip steps, and guess what? You're going to skip the results. So for clarity, let me emphasize this. Let's call it bold, right? It has to be simple. It has to proactively answer the four questions. Who is this for? Why does it matter to me? And then I go back and forth on this one. So I'm going to let you decide. Let's put one right here. It should either solve a problem or make a promise. Depending on the context, you may not be able to do both of those, right? It should solve a problem or make a promise. And I'm going to give you an example of what this looks like. Let's do one more. Question number 4. A lot of times in our conversations, we say things like, "Hi, I'm Bruce." That really isn't a conversation. It's just a statement, a declaration. Now, most people, they understand society norms, social practices, and they'll say, "Oh, this person told me their name. I should tell them my name." When in a business conversation, I want you to remove that assumption and be proactive in what do you need next. I usually like to ask a question or suggest an action. Okay. And again, let me put either or. I need bigger sticky notes. So what does this sound like? If you if you say, "Hey, I'm Bruce Hill. I make sales simple," that's solving a problem. "For startup founders," that's who this is for. "Why does it matter to me?" To help them turn more conversations into clients without sounding salesy. Are you currently seeking a round of funding? That's the question, right? One, do I have some giant numbers? That'd be kind of cool. Let me see if I got some numbers. There's some GIFs, some emojis, and some stickers. All right, I'll play around with this later. What's really, oh, here we go. This one right here. There we go. It gets a little smiley face sticker. Actually, I'm going to do this. This is good. But then combined with this, it becomes better. Combined with this, it becomes great. Combined with this, now we're turning conversations into clients. How does this work? So one morning, I was in a networking event. We had a chance to ask questions. I said, "Hey, my name's Bruce. I make sales simple. Can you tell me about your approach to customer discovery?" Related question, simple, clear, concise, compelling. So he answers the question, and I listen to the answer. I said, "Hey, thank you." Now, afterwards, someone comes up to me, taps me on the shoulder, says, "Hey, Bruce." I said, "Oh, hey, how can I help you?" They say, "Hey, you make sales easy." That happens a lot, but that's what he said. Okay. I said, "Yeah." I said, What's going on?" He's like, "Well, I'm working in a startup. No one's heard of us, but what we do faster and easier than any of the competition. And we do it all in one place, so you don't have to hire two people. You can just hire us." I'm like, "Man, that sounds fantastic. What problem are you having?" He asked me, he's like, "How do I make that connection with people that have never heard of me before?" That's where this training was born. That one question. Actually, shameless plug for my book, Better Questions Create Better Clients, right? How do we introduce ourselves so people want to hear more? That's the question. A good question gets a good answer. A great question gets a great answer. Better questions get better answers. And guess what? Better answers create better clients. better questions, better clients. All right, coming soon. Visit askingbetterquestions.com, askingbetterquestions.com to grab a pre-order and a chance to be mentioned in the book for free. So he asked me this question: how do I introduce myself to people who've never heard of me? So I have a connections, right? So we have a chance to talk. So we have a chance to connect and have a conversation. I said, man, that's great. And I wrote this training based on that. What so many people miss in a conversation is they tell you about themselves. And I'm saying this out loud because I've done it too. And even my intro, hey, my name is Bruce, that is irrelevant. And I can't tell you how many times I had a conversation with people that know I make sales simple. And at the end, like, hey, what's your name again? Because you have to answer the question. Let's go back to our whiteboard. Existing whiteboard. There we go. Compelling communication. There we go. Who is this for? And why does it matter to me? We skip these two the most often. Most people, the most time, skip these questions. And honestly, they're the cornerstones. Well, let's keep their stickies on here of what makes an introduction powerful. It's until it's about them, it's not about you. If you can remember this one thing, it'll be much easier for you to turn those conversations into an introduction into a conversation and a conversation into a sales call. So when I told him, I was like, hey, the problem I solve is, or sorry, the promise I make, it's not a problem. I make sales simple. That's a promise. I said, hey, the problem I solve is I make sales simple. Right? Let me get a little highlighter on this. All right. Making a promise. I make sales simple. Who is it for startup founders and professional service businesses. Now, I was in a networking group for founders, so I just said for startup founders. If I know that's who in the room, that's who I'm going to talk to. Simple. It doesn't change the promise, but it does change the context. So it's why does it matter? So they can turn more conversations into clients. And I'm thinking about, as I speak, I'm thinking about adding more conversations into clients or investors. That answers the most important question. Why does it matter to me? So if this is important to me, this promise, and you're talking to me, I'm the who, and this matters to me, the next thing I'm going to ask you is like, what do we do next? So guess what? He scheduled a call. He scheduled a discovery call. I didn't have to beg him, I didn't have to coerce him. I didn't have to, what do they do nowadays? Offer a $25 gift card to Starbucks. It's a simple formula. Knowing it and recognizing it in your own process so you can do it on purpose is crucial to turning more conversations into clients. So I want you to be able to go from here to here, to here to here, to here. You can suggest the next steps. Now, if this is the first time you've ever talked to someone, suggest an action like, hey, would you like to get on a call? Okay, that's good. It's not a wrong way to do it. It's not a bad way to do it. But if this is the first time you ever talked to them, then I might ask a question. Tell me and what did I ask him? Why, I don't remember how I put it. Why is making sales simple important to you? Or where's your challenge? However I phrased it, I asked him a question. So where are we at? Now all of a sudden, right, my intro turns into a question. Now we're communicating. Now we're having a conversation. Now it hasn't converted yet, but I hope that'll turn into a client. But we can never get to the client. It's going to stay in the future if we can't turn those introductions into conversations. So let's do this. Let's go here. I'm hearing a pattern here. So the introduction, and then let's go with connection. That could be um, a literal and like figurative connection, right? Connection like, oh, hey, this is someone I need to talk to. And then a connection like, hey, we scheduled a discovery call. Then what's next? We got to have a conversation. And this is so important. We'll overemphasize it. A conversation, not you talking, not you spreading a slide deck. Uh, um, that could be a recording. If you're going to do all the talking, you could have sent them a recording. Conversations turn into clients. You're not going to get to clients without a conversation. Sorry, let me say this. I work with technical startup founders and professional service businesses. If you sell CPG or direct to consumer, you probably could create clients without a conversation. But even then, there's a whole nother conversation about awareness and marketing. That's why it's so important. I say, let's go back over here. Who is this for? Right? That's why it's so important. Because if you're like, yeah, I have an e-commerce brand, I probably am not the best solution to help you. To probably help you with your messaging, clarity, simplicity, proactively answer questions. Those are strong things that will help you. But the people I can help the most are startup founders, particularly SaaS-based in professional service businesses. And I just realized something. I'm a little embarrassed that this didn't. No, it was right. That looks wrong. Does that look wrong to anybody but me? Oh well. I'm a sales strategist, not a spelling bee champion. All right, let's go back over here. A strong introduction is the start on the path to clients. It's the first step, not the last step. We want to create a connection. How do we do that? By answering these four questions. What problem do you solve or promise are you making? Who is this for? Why does it matter? What is the next step? By proactively answering those four, we can lead to a conversation. This is the crucial step. Like this is the linchpin. It all falls apart without introduction. If they've never heard of you, how can they work with you? A connection has to happen because there's so many options. We have to have a reason to talk to you specifically. Conversation comes in, and more conversations, better conversations turn to better clients. And we'll talk about that in another conversation, no pun intended, but like how we're using better questions to our clients. So as I do this and I draw this out for you and for me, because it helps to visualize. Like, I don't want to sit here and just talk to you. I don't want to go through a slide deck, and I'm going to do a new one of these every single time. How do we have an introduction that makes sense? And this is a formula that I like. Is it the only way? No. Is it the best way? Maybe. We've got to figure out if it's the best way for you. And the only way you can do that is to try it. That's the best way to do it is to try it. So here's my ask. Oh, one more thing. Now that I've got um what's the word I'm looking for? Now that I've got your attention, I want to give you my Better Questions Toolkit. I want you to take this and apply it to your next conversation. And the QR code's disappeared. That's inconvenient. One moment, please. This is what I'm looking for. Better Questions Toolkit is a collection of what to do and how to do it. I think this is a little bit about what, right? What you need a strong introduction, and I try and give you specific examples that you can take and use, that you can put into practice. This one's going to go into more detail when we talk about asking better questions to have those strong conversations. It's got some step-by-step guides, some examples, and more. Now, the next part is, see, this is where I like what I do. This is all live. It's not pre-recorded. I don't edit these because I want to make sure that you feel some level of authenticity in it. And I think in this world of AI and hyper edited videos, it feels almost like a performance. Actually, not almost, it definitely does. And as I continue to improve, it'll be more and more polished, sure. but my goal isn't to impress you. I like what Lisa Nichols says, it's to impress upon you. I'm here for your success. So I'm going to go down to the end here. Let's do a new slide. Do, do, do. And the reason I went on that tangent is because there's no pause button. There's no like, oh, cut to commercial. There it is. New slide. Sheesh. There we go. So if you're watching this on your phone, I guess I can put it in the notes. Maybe you can scan it. If you're on your computer, use your phone, scan it. It's going to take you to a feedback form. Ask you, hey, how was the presentation? Did you learn anything? Was it useful? Would you want to hear something else? You don't have to be nice, just be truthful. Because that's how I get better. That's how I make more videos that are valuable to you, more useful to you. And if we stop making videos that aren't valuable, aren't useful to you, and at the end, you'll have the better question toolkit. I'll probably go over that. Not probably. We'll go over that again in the future. There's so many things that we could cover to help you turn more conversations to clients, to help you hear yes more often. But we got to do one thing at a time. That's how we make sales simple, one step at a time. So this has been your weekly webinar with Bruce Hill from I Make Sales Simple for startup founders of professional service businesses, help them to turn more conversations on clients and helping them hear yes more often without sounding salesy.